Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Sid Meier's Gettysburg, one of the greatest war games of all time, a 1997 classic, which I have been revisiting on this channel over the last couple of days. I am playing through the grand campaign of Sid Meier's Gettysburg, fighting as the Union, trying to win the Battle of Gettysburg, if not better than was historical, then at least on par with the historical victory for the Union. In the first two battles, things have not gotten off to a great start. We've lost McPherson's Hill. We were pushed right off it by Heath's division. We narrowly avoided winning that battle. It was a marginal Confederate victory, the smallest margin for victory. But in the last battle, in the last fight, the attack on Seminary Ridge by both Heath and Pender's division, we were trounced. Hill's corps just swamped us. They broke our line essentially in three places. We had three brigades. They isolated each one, double enveloped both of them, and just shoved us right off that ridge so that the Union troops, the First Corps, did not make their historic stand west of the town of Gettysburg. They were just trounced. And it was a tactical victory in the last fight, but we're kind of on the ropes now. It's going to be the evening of July 1st, or the afternoon of July 1st. General Ewell's Corps, the 2nd Confederate Corps, is going to be coming up onto the field. Hill's Corps likely will still be in support, and the Confederates, if they can beat us in the next battle, we will see a very different battle than historically occurred at Gettysburg. If they beat us in the next battle, then July 2nd, rather than the Union on the defensive, will be the Confederates on the defensive and the Union launching counterattacks. So we'll try our best to avoid that. We'll try to hold the high ground on Cemetery Hill, Culp's Hill, and we'll see how this all plays out. This was taken from a live stream from 3 or 4 days ago now, yeah, so we're playing through this game as the Union. We'll probably do another series playing through as the Confederates once this is done. I'm not the greatest at this game, but it is a lot of fun. It's one of the classics. It's one of my favorite games from growing up. I played it all the time. Yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to myself from the live stream, and I'll catch you guys at the end. Hope you enjoy, and thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the next scenario. You can see that one's more shot up than the last one because it's a bigger Confederate victory.
They hit us pretty hard, General. 2 full divisions coming down Cashtown Pike. My corps is pretty much used up.
Very well, General Doubleday. My corps has arrived. We intend to hold this hill.
This is good ground, General Howard. If you hold here, the army can form along the ridge.
Exactly. There'll be no more retreating today.
Okay, let's hope so.
These are your objectives, General. This is your best brigade. More infantry and artillery are coming up.
Okay, so this is a big force. We've got 8,000 men. We've got more troops and cannon en route. Go ahead and slow the game down. Let's also save the game. Look at that good old-fashioned Windows 95 menu there. All right, so we've got to hold Ziegler's Grove, Cemetery Hill. Culp's Hill isn't an objective, but we probably want to hold it. Got a few brigades in reserve. Smith's brigade is in reserve, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move Smith up. I'm going to form him into double line, facing north. Let the artillery reposition slightly, because we're gonna. I think we're gonna end up seeing the Early's Corps come into play here. So these von Steinwehr's probably got Koster out of position. You can see these little wooden things mean he's dug in, but I think he's gonna be flanked if we don't move him. Go ahead and actually let's refuse his whole line. Because again, because of the way this game works, holding Culp's Hill doesn't matter, frankly. He's going to go here. He's going to go here. These troops are dug in. We've got these troops which are black, which basically means there's troops down here. We can't command them. They're Gamble's troops. If the Confederates engage them, I believe they may turn under our control. Otherwise, no. We'll go ahead and move Krasinski in a double line just behind Schlefling's brigade. And we'll move Von Glees here in reserve. This is Barlow's division. Barlow is interesting. They mark him as a mediocre division commander. He was one of the hardest fighting Union generals during this period of time. But it's interesting the game considers him a mediocre commander. This game came out shortly after the was it the Turner Productions movie of Gettysburg, and I feel like they really were driven and inspired by that movie to a certain extent. I also think, like Killer Angels falls into some of the stereotypes about the Union Army and their commanders. I think this game sort of buys into some of that as well. But these guys are all dug in here. You can see the fact that they've got that little icon indicates they're entrenched. That's what this little square represents here. So they've got high ground and they're entrenched. Confederates look like they're trying to work around our flank. So what we're actually going to do... I may have those 2 brigades of Ames troops use their lines a bit. But I don't want to take them out of entrenched positions quite yet. So we'll go ahead and speed things up to normal speed. Forming these guys in double line, so if the front regiment gets broken, then the regiment behind it can kind of step in. Coster's brigade's going to be in a line so they can hold a longer position. And sort of form a mini fishhook here. Von Gleese is in a single line because his brigade's too small. They're going way wide. Alright. Pull Digger's battery back to this wood line here. We're going to pull Ames back. We'll have him form a single battle line, refusing the flank here a bit. So we're kind of pulling our troops in a bit to prevent the enemy from going right around us. Does sacrifice their entrenchments. They're going to get some benefit from being in this little orchard over here. But we've got to hold this position. If we get pushed off Cemetery Hill, then July 2nd becomes a Union counterattack to try and retake their historical positions. Whereas if we hold here, I think we end up with the historical July 2nd positions, which gives us good defensive ground on the left flank. Now, the one thing is with these troops in these lines, some of them are exposed to kind of raking artillery fire here. It's either firing down the line. I'm trying to see who they're shooting at. I can't really tell. 73rd is enfiladed here by this battery. But how's the scenario going so far? Casualty-wise, we've inflicted 25 on them, 6 against us. Some of our artillery is being fired at as well. Union artillery tends to be better in this game, as it was historically. So they're still kind of forming up. They haven't really begun their attack. We've got multiple lines of defense here with artillery behind. While the infantry can be blocked by another unit, I don't think the artillery can. I think artillery can fire through friendly lines. So that's good for us. There is no ammunition modeled in this game, so unlike the Ultimate General games, you don't have to move ammo wagons around. You can see here another enemy officer spotted. I love the little audio cues. You might not be able to hear it because I've got the volume turned down a bit for recording purposes so you can still hear me. You've got all these, like, little voice, you know, if you click on a unit that's just waiting, you'll hear someone say, like, I wonder when we're going to get moving, or things like that, or cues of, like, you know, you give them the cold steel, or, you know, aim low, boys, because you're on high ground, that kind of a thing. How long do I have to stand here? Vince, the stereotype, one example of the stereotype, I mentioned it earlier, is the fact that the difficulty levels when you're playing as the Confederates, the Union difficulty, the hardest difficulty is Winfield Scott Hancock, not the Army commander, not General Meade, but Winfield Scott Hancock. Whereas for the Confederates, the difficulty level is General James Longstreet, which is kind of like Hancock's equivalent on the Confederate side, and Robert E. Lee as the hardest difficulty. So it's just those kind of interesting little things that the game does that kind of makes it feel like, all right, you're giving a little bit to the stereotypes there. All right, they're trying to go around Ames's flank again, so I've got to refuse it once again. Man, the AI is really good about trying to feel your flanks out and go around them. I would have thought the cavalry here would be in range to shoot at them, but you got to get pretty close in this game to actually be in range. I don't think they'll swing any further around. If they do, they'll be really isolated. But Ames' brigade's going to hold a really important position. Because of that, I'm actually going to send one of von Gleese's regiments down here as well. To sort of extend the flank a little bit, provide a little bit of support. They're starting to move against our right as well. We're going to take we're going to take one of Krasinski's regiments also. Looks like they're going to move here against the salient in the north, rather than extending around Coster's flank. Alright, so the battle is joined. Their assault's beginning. They're trying a double envelopment here. We've almost created a little mini semicircle of a line. They're advancing against the north, they're advancing against the south and the center to an extent. Here we go. Ames's brigade is one of the weaker brigades in our line. We've got additional artilleries coming up here. Actually, this is going to work out. Let's put this artillery here to fire into the Confederate flank. They both appear to be smoothbores.
Reporting, General.
They may be going around his flank. Good God! They keep extending their lines. We need the artillery in the line. I can't leave it too exposed. Maybe I can. Put these guys here. Alright, Coster's troops are dug in and on high ground. The main attack here is with Early's fresh troops trying to break through our position in the north. We'll swing some of these reserves. Ah, one of the batteries was exposed out there. We at least routed it right away. Schurz is an experienced division commander. These guys are green, so we'll see how long they hold out. You can move your general officer quicker by clicking the rally button. They kind of move much more quickly, then you can unclick it to get them back into their command bonus. Alright, this artillery's firing to their flank. Who's retreating? Oh, Barlow's regiments. Weinstein's troops here. Gotta try and hang on here. We can't afford a defeat. If we lose here, I'm pretty confident in saying the entire series and this entire battle will be a defeat. Or, like, the entire Battle of Gettysburg, so the whole campaign, I think, will be a defeat if we lose here. Schlefling Bling Bling's brigades or regiments is routed. Well, the batteries up there is routed. Artillery can really be killer up on the northern point of Cemetery Hill. We just don't have enough guns to go around. Alright. I think I need to use charges a little bit more strategically. Like, some of these troops, they're not experiencing any damage because they're behind the lines. If I charge them to the front, they may be able to drive the Confederates back because they're fresh and the Confederates won't have been fresh. So we'll see. Who's all retreating? Are those my charging troops that are retreating? Problem is the 11th Corps troops are largely either green or inexperienced. Which, again, that's one of those stereotypes of the sort of German troops, or the 11th Corps is the unreliable corps in the Army of the Potomac, which, I mean, the circumstances that they found themselves in at Gettysburg on the afternoon of July 1st were pretty difficult. To say that, you know, to say that they were routed was their fault seems a little unfair. They were put into an unwinnable position, basically. Okay. Trying to hang in here. Hang in there, boys. Drive those rebels back. Alright, Ames is doing a really good job on that flank. Move these guys north. These artillery here are helping Coster's flank. We're going to move this regiment in. Sort of now that the artillery is helping roll up the Confederate flank attack on Coster, we'll go ahead and move some of his troops forward into the grinder. Oh shit, they're super green troops. Yeah, no, I know I'll have a scenario to try and retake Cemetery Hill if I lose J Street. My point was more that that scenario is difficult enough as it is. It's basically Pickett's charge on July 2nd. And I'd rather not have that, you know? I'd rather... I don't think I will win that battle, I guess is my point. Alright, so Ziegler's Grove should be safe. We're going to pull the 76 Ohio to Cemetery Ridge. Go ahead and pull the 74th Pennsylvania over that way, too. We routed more Confederate troops here with artillery. Ramsey's brigade is gone, basically. We're down to a half an hour left. I don't know if they've got more troops that they haven't deployed yet. Why are they sitting in column formation? I thought I told them to be in a line. Maybe not. Alright, I don't want to say things look like they're going well, because last time I said that, we lost. That was the first battle. McPherson's Hill, oh, everything's look like it's going well. 5 minutes before the whole thing ends, the whole line comes apart. There's the aim low, boys. Oh, the 82nd Illinois is going to go. The 75th Ohio in behind him. Alright, so they've got a reserve. Alright, so we've got a bunch of troops crammed in here. Sometimes that's a bad thing, though, as you know, because troops can have their position blocked. The weird thing is these routed troops should not be in the rear. Why are they running around the rear of our lines? What if they rally back there? Alright, let's move the 54th New York onto the flank of these attackers. These guys into Ziegler's Grove. One of our regiments just routed. Yep, these guys up front. We're going to advance. Oh, shit. 73rd Ohio, let's try and advance them on the flank. I paused it for a second there. Maybe we can drive some of these regiments back. Again, we're coming up to the end of the fight. The enemy's putting in another advance here. I think his whole brigade's routed, so we'll pull him back here to rally. So, let's see what happens here. We've got a lot of troops grouped up in and around Cemetery Hill here. It feels like we've got the enemy outnumbered. But they pretty much all rallied and now are putting in their final effort to retake these objectives here. At least these guys just got pushed back. I don't know if they've got sufficient strength to push us out. We've got several fresh units. It just depends on where the border is for them to be able to approach one of these objectives. Because if they approach, you know, it doesn't take much. Oh, go over here. Get up here to the 68th New York, Von Gleese, and convince them to hold. Someone's retreating. One of the troops at the head of the Cemetery Hill salient. B. Does that mean we can claim victory? Decisive Union victory! So apparently there are times when if you're beating the enemy enough, you can actually claim victory. So we just claimed victory here and won the battle. Our first victory, fist pump for that. We lost about 1,300 infantry, 74 artillerymen. The enemy lost 2,500 infantry, so they lost about 1,000 men more. We held both objectives, so a decisive victory at the end of the first day of July. Smith's Brigade, the most effective. Smith's 33rd Massachusetts, the most effective unit. And the hardest fighting unit was Smith's 136 New York. So Smith, all around there, these guys on the salient here north of Cemetery Hill were the key to our defense. And that good ground saved us the day. I think that'll be it for July 1st, but we'll find out. Cemetery Hill, you can see in gold. 4,400 points for us. Our battle flag starts to fill up. And there you go. Evening July 1st, end of the first day's fight. Apparently we're pretty happy. You got the happy time music.
Hancock, how are your men?
General Meade, the men are exhausted after the day's action. But, sir, they've plenty of spirit left for the fight tomorrow. Every soldier is ready to do his duty.
Well then, Godspeed your sleep, General, and prepare your command for tomorrow's trials.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. The end of July 1st. It considers it a victory, I guess, for the Union in terms of points. We had one decisive victory, one tactical defeat, and one marginal defeat. We did hold the historical ridgeline, so we were able to hang on to Cemetery Ridge, Cemetery Hill, Culp's Hill, all of that. So I would imagine the July 2nd fight, as you can kind of assume from the graphic on the screen here, is that July 2nd will at least start off resembling the historical July 2nd fight, with Longstreet trying to go around the Union left, attacking toward Devil's Den, the Rose Wheat Field, the Peach Orchard, and Little Round Top. We will see how we fare in those fights in the coming videos, but that's going to do it for this one. So I appreciate you guys tuning in once again. We got to see our first victory as the Union, and we got to keep this battle resembling the historical Battle of Gettysburg. Those are all good things from a viewership perspective. I don't know. I think they're good things. I want to win, right? But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me know your thoughts below, as always. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching. And once again, I'm out.